Welcome to today's re-recording of this program.
Hi, so welcome to Sam's Point. I'm Becca. I am the interpretive ranger here at Sam's Point area of Minnewaska State Park Reserve. And this is Alexa. Hello. Alexa is our Student Conservation Association / AmeriCorps Park educator. So we're the two educators here, and we're going to talk about some invasives today. Go ahead.
So, invasive species, you've probably heard of them. They are non-native species that have become a problem. So invasive species have come from elsewhere, and a lot of times they don't have anything to limit their growth. So for example, they may not have any natural predators in this area, so they can grow rapidly. Or they could be an animal, an insect, a plant. Today we're going to be showing two invasive species we have in the park and most likely also in your backyard. And how to remove them. So our first one is here. It's called bull thistle, and it's right next to our boot brush station.
Boot brush! So, it's a good sign if you have a boot brush. Boot brushes are not to clean your feet after your hike. They are to clean your feet before the hike. I know that sounds counterproductive, but it is to knock all of the invasive seeds and weeds and plant particles and bugs off the bottoms of your feet. And then they do have to be monitored pretty closely, but we have our nice interpretive sign here to kind of show you what they do and show you what we're preventing. These are all invasive species we have in the park. One of my arch nemesis is listed here as the Japanese stilt grass. That is a pain, and it is literally on each side of this carriage road here. So if you see a boot brush, use it before your hike, definitely number one. And then if you have a boot brush or are in charge of managing boot brushes like we are, you have to take a look at it, clean it, and then see if there's any invasives growing up around it. So we have some. Let's pull one out today. So Alexa, what is this species?
This is bull thistle. It is a very spiny plant. If you kind of come close, you can see that the top is like this weird kind of foamy top, and the bottom is very soft, and at each edge there is a spine here. It can prick you, which is why we're wearing very thick gloves right now.
You want to tell us what else we need to wear when we pull invasives?
Yes, long sleeves, pants, shoes. Both the invasives we're pulling today are very prickly. I can already feel it through my clothes, so if I was wearing short sleeves it'd be even worse. Yeah, so thistle, it is a very common plant. If you are thinking you may have it in your yard but you're not completely sure, if you wait just a little bit longer, it's going to grow a stem about 2 feet tall, and it has a purple flower. Now, this purple flower is similar to a dandelion in that after it flowers, it becomes a seed ball, which is kind of like a puff ball that it's wind dispersed. So if you see in your yard, you see those purple flowers coming up, you know that is a good time to remove it. Or if you already know what it looks like, now is a great time to remove it too.
Right.
So these plants establish very well because of their long and very thick taproot, which is what Becca just pulled out. Other native plants will grow slower than thistle, which is why they can take over, and why they're so sturdy because of that really big root.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the size, it's longer than my finger.
Wow. So deer can't eat these, can they?
No, they cannot. The leaves are poisonous to deer, and the spikes are also non-favorable for them.
All right.
Pull this other one out while we're here.
So I think you had mentioned earlier that they also aren't good for bees.
No. So a lot of times an invasive species will take over an area that a native species had once been, and it will not benefit any of those native other species that might depend on plants. So for example, this plant will exist here, but it's not going to provide the same benefits as a native similar plant. Deer can't use it. A lot of the native pollinators may not use it. Maybe an invasive pollinator, sometimes that's the case, which is just kind of a double negative at that point.
All right. So how do you get rid of them once you pull them up?
We bag it in a black garbage bag. We're going to mark it on today's date so that we know a year from now we can finally discard of it. That's how hardy these plants are. They need a whole year without any sunlight, without any water, for them to actually die and not spread on the way to the dump.
So would burning it work at all?
Burning it would work. You want to adhere to our county's burn ban policies. Currently, we cannot burn between March 15th and May 15th, so we're still in that burn ban by about a day, 2 days. So no burning it yet. We also do not have any fires in the park, permitted in the park, so we can't even burn it here if we tried. That's why we bring it to the landfill. Not the landfill, the dump, the transfer station, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so one way, cut it off from all light if you can't burn it, or burn it. Make sure it all gets in there.
Yeah, if you burn it, be responsible.
And just remember, if you're burning it, and say you have a nice green plant like this, it's going to take a lot to burn it, because if you open it up, it's very sappy and wet and gross, so it's not going to be easy to burn.
No, all right.
Well, so also, if you have thistle just like in your yard, I see it sometimes in the grass here. If you mow your lawn, then it's not going to be able to reach that point where it's grown a few feet and has created those like dandelion like balls of seeds. So you can temporarily just like monitor it and kind of graze it down, or like us, we're trying to permanently remove it.
Weed whackers are great for invasive species removal.
Oh, great. Okay, that's very good to know. All right. So, shall we see the next invasive species on our list? Okay, fantastic. So, why is Burberry so annoying?
So, well, why don't we wait and show you over there? But there are many other invasives in it, because it'll just stick a little bit better. No pun intended. You will see why I said stick. But there are many different invasives. You just gotta make sure you do your research and know what's invasive and what's native. And you just want to promote our native pollinator flowers for the bee population, all the other plants and animals that need them as well. Birds. Birds are very important with the native versus invasive species.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. So we already brought our tools over here for this one. This one's a little harsher than our thistle. This is the Japanese barberry. And Alexa, do you want to explain how we know it's a Japanese barberry?
Sure. So Japanese barberry at this time of the year are flowering. So if you come close, you'll see that all these flowers hang upside down on the bottom side of the branch. They also have these spikes, and they're alternate, meaning there's one here, one here, one here, one here. Some other types of barberry that are not invasive have a different flowering pattern and a different spiking situation. So those are two ways to identify. These leaves also will not grow longer than an inch. They'll either be green or, as you can see, a little bit red, orange, sometimes completely red, the leaves. And in the fall time is when they produce these red berries, and the whole plant is bright orange, their leaves. We want to take out any of these plants before they fruit in the fall time, because those berries, a lot of birds do like to eat them, but then they're just contributing to their spread. So this is the time to remove it, now into summertime.
This will take over an entire forest. It will be impenetrable because it is so prickly. That's why I said stick before. Ha ha ha. So funny. But they also are little tick hotels.
Oh no.
Ticks love them. They crawl up in them. So when you brush by, you'll get a whole bunch of ticks on you. And that brings us to our segue, is make sure you do a tick check every single day. Ticks are bad. Lyme disease is really bad, and the best way to do it is just check every single day, maybe twice a day, maybe morning and night. Just check for yourself for ticks all the time.
Recently read that the University of Connecticut did a study on Japanese barberry and the spread of Lyme disease, and they found in one of their experimental forests that an area that had uncontained Japanese barberry growing had 12 times as many Lyme disease infected ticks as areas that did not have any Japanese barberry growing.
Oh no.
So you have a 12 times more likely of a chance of getting a tick with Lyme disease. So we don't like that.
No.
These can grow to be 5 feet tall, and just once they're that large, you can't even manually remove it with our tools here. You'll need an excavator, which is a whole machine. So now is the time to do it.
Yeah. Sounds like a pain in the butt. Or the hand, as it
Or
were.
the arm, or anywhere it pricks you.
Okay, so we're going to remove this one. We're going to show you how to do it. And this is another one where you do it by the root.
By the root.
So we got to get it off first. We don't want to be pricked as much as possible. So we're going to cut it. This one's still manageable enough to cut.
Okay. So first, I guess you want to get a pair of good shears or clippers
Yes.
and
So we're
clip
gonna
them
take
off.
this. Ouch. I'm just going to lay this on top because we're going to cut it smaller.
All right. So
And
that,
do you want me to do this part? Sure.
that right there is where all the roots are, right?
That's the root ball.
All right, I'm going to back up a little bit because this is,
Get some dirt flying at
it
you.
is some dirt. All right. So you're mostly working the soil around it and under it, right?
Yes.
It also helps if you were to wet the soil beforehand. We did not do that, but it definitely makes it easier.
Soil has a lot of moisture in it still. But it does definitely help.
Oh, wow. That thing is so weird looking.
Got a bright yellow color.
Hold on, let me zoom back to a normal. Oh my gosh, that is so yellow.
It is.
That is like, that's way more than even a carrot. It's almost like neon.
It is. It's pretty bright.
Wow.
So,
Very bright. So that's how you can
get
tell.
it out by the root.
Yeah, like a mandrake.
Just like a mandrake.
Yep. So these guys are pretty crazy at spreading because they have rhizomes in their roots, which basically means that the roots can grow a few feet away from one individual plant and sprout a new one. So
Oh.
even if you were to prevent all berry movement, they could still spread next to each other and create a colony.
This one is connected to the one we just had.
Oh, wow. So where do these usually come from originally?
Nurseries. People sell them to put in their front lawns.
What?
It's still legal. It's pretty bad.
Wow. So basically you don't buy this. If
Buy
you're,
native plants.
yes, do your research before you landscape.
Even if you did want to buy ornamental plants that aren't invasive, but they may be non-native, they're not going to benefit any of the local wildlife. There's many other great options that you could choose instead.
Wildlife, including bugs, butterflies, bees, all the things that we need to survive.
Yeah.
Birds.
Birds.
All those important ones. And insects. And Alexa, you want to talk about our newest invasive insect?
Yes. So, luckily we don't have one with us right now, but have you spotted the spotted lanternfly? You may be hearing this slogan quite a lot. It is New York's newest pest. It was discovered a few years ago in Pennsylvania, accidentally brought to the United States. And yeah, it's a fly. It looks like this in its adult stage, but it does have a few life stages. So currently, they are just now emerging from their egg masses and are in their first instar, which is their first life stage. This nymph, it's black with these white dots on it. They're pretty tiny. Sometimes they can look a little bit blue. One good thing about this pest is that they're very easy to identify. I have never seen another insect that looks quite like this. This is them a little bit later on, July through September, and then they become in their adult stage in September to around December before they begin laying eggs again. This is them with their wings open, but you'll most likely see them in this more like grayish, because that'll be when their wings are closed. This is a picture of a whole congregation of them. They all will hang out together and kill a tree by sucking out all of its sap.
Oh no.
So, its favorite tree to suck the sap out of is a different invasive tree called the tree of heaven. It grows extremely straight, and it grows very fast, and they suck the sap out, and while they're sucking the sap and digesting it, they are excreting it as well. So there's streams of spotted lanternfly urine flying off of the tree. And it's very sticky, very gross. And so when they're done with the tree of heaven, they move on to your sugar maples, onto your red maples, onto your apple trees, onto your pear trees, onto your grapevines. So it will be very detrimental if we have a whole bunch of these bugs come to our area. It'll decimate our crops for the year.
Oh,
and it's going to be pretty bad. So we want to spot them quickly and eradicate them quicker than we spot them.
Wow. So if you spot a spotted lanternfly, what should you do?
You can download the app or go online to iMap Invasives. It's the letter I, Map Invasives. It's a free app, and basically you take a photo of the species. It could be spotted lanternfly, it could be some Japanese Burberry, it could be whatever that's invasive, and you'll mark the location. And scientists who are tracking the spread of invasive species will use your information. It's a form of citizen science.
The DEC also wants you to report it to spotted lanternfly at dec.ny.gov. Just go to the DEC website.
Just gonna zoom in there for a second. So go ahead and let them know that you have spotted the spotted lanternfly.
The iMap invasive is, what else do you map on it?
Well, you could map many different species that are invasive. So, of course, we got like our new pests, but any additional ones that we know have been in the area, but it'll show that they're still here. Or it may show a decline if people are doing the work quite well. There's a lot of good people out there trying to fight off these invasives.
Fighting the good fight.
Yes. But to eradicate them, everyone has to do their work. Because if you get rid of all the invasives in your yard, if your neighbor doesn't do it, they're just going to keep showing up in your yard. So spread the word. And if you're interested in getting rid of invasive species, we actually have a volunteer event June 5th here at Sam's Point. You can hang out with Becca and I. June 5th is a Saturday, and it's also National Trails Day. So it's a national day of service, and we will be pulling invasive species. We might be doing some Japanese Barberry, some Thistle, definitely some Japanese stiltgrass. That's a big one. But you can
knapweed.
Yeah, some knapweed. Yeah, there'll be plenty to learn, plenty to do. Hopefully the weather will be great. It's June, so it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then in July, maybe come to the Zoom TikTok the library will be doing, which will be on Zoom. Keep your eye out for it. And all right. So thank you guys again so much for doing this.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll see you soon. If you have any questions or are interested in any events here at Sam's Point, go to our park's website. Sign up. We got events almost every single weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys really soon. And don't forget to sign up for our upcoming virtual field trip with Sam's Point, which will be on turtles and mountain laurel. Yes. So we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.